Hey guys, welcome to today's episode. Today we're going to be changing our engine oil in our Yamaha 250 SHO. Show you a quick, easy way to do it and save you a lot of money and hassle instead of having to take it to your dealer and get it done. It's actually quite simple. I'll start this off in saying that there's two ways to do this. You can take off this old housing here. You can take this off with Allen wrenches. I think it's a 10mm Allen wrench. Takes this cover off, but it gets you down to a drain plug that's about right here that you can take out and drain the oil out of it with. But the alternative to that is got a cheap, relatively cheap, I think this is $19.99. I've had it for a long time. It's a 12-volt siphon pump, and to prevent having to take all this off, we're going to take this cover off. We're going to hook this to our cranking battery, and this will siphon out through the dipstick and empty the engine compartment. And this boat motor is completely, it's summertime. It's August 1st actually, so it's already 90-something degrees outside. But this engine hadn't been run since Thursday night. So all the oil's cooled off, it's all drained down. You want to make sure that. You don't want to come straight off the water and try to change your oil and do it this way. But this, air temperature at 92 degrees. So this oil's all collected in the reservoir. It's going to drain out. It's going to siphon out real good with this. We're going to get all of it out. And then we're going to change the oil filter and take care of this. And like I said, this will save you a lot of time. And a lot of people don't do it because they don't have a place to dispose of the oil. But I will say this, Walmart, you can take any used motor oil to Walmart and they'll take it free of charge and dispose of it legally. Be sure to like this video, be sure to share it, and if you don't care, go ahead and subscribe down below and click that little notification bell, because we're going to have more videos upcoming and I know you guys are going to like. Here we've got our Yamaha oil filter. We ordered this online, shipped it to the house. We've got our Yamaha lube. This SAE 5W30 Marine full synthetic motor oil is what the SHO 250 SHO recommends using, and you can order this directly online. I believe the oil, which this holds a lot of oil. This will hold a 5-gallon bucket full of oil. So I believe the oil and the filter and everything, including shipping and all taxes and everything, was $203.99 delivered to the house. Ordered it on Monday, I believe, and I believe it arrived Thursday. So quick and easy. First thing you're only going to do is going to take your hard top off your motor, and you're going to have to flip 3 levers to do that. You're going to flip this one, this one, then we're going to click our front latch here, and your hard top shell's ready to come off. Just set that shell over to the side so it's out of your way. And you want to make sure this engine compartment is pretty level. And I mean, I don't put a level on it, you can just eyeball it. Well, you can see right there, she's pretty level. That'll let all the oil settle down. and the dipstick here. And when we get our pump set up and we start getting ready to pump from our dipstick, we're gonna come right here and we're gonna loosen this cap, take it off, so that as we're pumping out, this thing can get, it doesn't create a vacuum and start doing the stuff it shouldn't do. So we need to let it get air. So when we get our pump set up, we're going to take that off so it'll have a way to siphon through, and that's on the passenger side of your motor compartment there. Okay, as you can see here, we have our oil dipstick where we're going to pump out of. Here's the oil filter right here. I've got a 5-gallon bucket that I'm going to set the pump into and pump it. This pump's got a on-off switch right here, so I'm going to go ahead and get it hooked up to my battery and get it ready to pump. One quick thing right here on your pump, I know the ones I've seen on the bottom of it, hope you guys can see that, on the bottom of it, it'll show you the direction of flow in your pump. Always make sure that sticker stays on there, because if not, you'll forget it and have to buy a new pump. You want to take the dipstick out, stick the clear plastic tube. They make water clamps go on the end of this that they sell with it, but I'll never use it. It's got a pretty tight fit on it anyway. But got this down into where the dipstick goes. I'm going to go back over here and loosen my oil fill top, you know, so we don't create a pressure situation here. So I'm going to go open it. We've got that. We've got our exit in. We're going to drop that in our 5-gallon bucket. We're going to turn the pump on. We're going to let her work. You see here as it's coming, you can hear that motor change once the oil hits it. Now we've got oil coming in the bucket. We're going to let her do her job, and then we're going to check back with it in just a minute. Okay, we got our pump. Our pump's pumped all the oil out. So now I like to go ahead and crack this oil filter. And I took an oil wrench and cracked it. I'm going to we're leaving this, we'll let a little more oil run down. I'm going to let that collect for a few minutes in the bottom. I'm going to turn the pump back on just to make sure I got it all. Then we're going to go back to putting the oil in, getting this job finished up. So one thing here that Yamaha's put on here that's pretty neat. You've got where your oil filter goes, and you also got a lip now that'll catch any oil that runs out of that filter so it doesn't get down in your motor. You just take a paper towel and clean that out right there. But now that we've got this off, we're going to turn our pump back on and just make sure we got all the remnants out of there. It's been about 5 minutes. So we're going to clean this off. We're going to turn our pump back on, make sure we got all of it out. And I want to give you guys a quick tip right here too. If you look at this oil that came out of the motor, if you notice, I mean, it's nice and black and gold looking, still got viscosity to it. But if you notice, there's no, one key indicator here is there's no water. I mean, you know, the old saying, oil and water don't mix. Well, if there was water in this oil, you would see it kind of splotching, and it's not doing that, which is a good sign. One early indicator of engine failure would be to see some water in this oil, and then that's when you know you need to take it to the dealer and let them take a look at it, because something's bad is fixing to go wrong with it. So, okay, we're back. We turned the pump on one last time, and it pumped just a little bit of oil back out. But I'm going to give you a little tip here. This is the new oil filter. What you need to do is take your finger, just dip it in the old oil, and then take this and just wipe that around that new seal on that oil filter right there. It'll help that seat get a good seal around that rim right there. Now we're going to screw this on with our hand. You don't need a tool to put this on. You put this on as tight as you can with your hand, and that's all you need. Because if you use a tool, as this thing heats up and this thing really seals, you're going to have a terrible time breaking it loose later. I know this from experience. So put this on as tight as you can with your hand. And I mean, I've got some big old forearms, so you know, if you're Jacob Bradley, you may want to take a tool, but for normal people, just go ahead and get that seal lubricated and just take it and twist it on. That's what we're going to do. We're going to do it with our hand. You want to be real careful here not to cross thread this. So we get it to make sure we get it started right. And you can feel that because these are aluminum fittings on here. Just twist her right on. Alright, now I'm going to get a paper towel and clean my hands off. Okay, I've got my hands cleaned off here with a paper towel. I'm going to clean the oil filter off, make sure I got all the oil off of it. Now I'm literally going to torque this down as tight as I can with my hand. That's all you want to do. And I mean, you're putting a lot of torque on that just with your hand. And in fact, I didn't show you guys, but I had to get a pipe wrench and break it loose. And that's exactly how I put it on there last time. Couldn't break it loose with my hand. Once this heats up, when you run it, that right there is sealed. That's all you need. Anything hot, anything more than that with a tool, you're going to have an awful time breaking it loose. And these things are aluminum. It's got thin housing. And if you put a lot of pressure on that, and as you can see, you don't have a lot of room right here. If you get it on there too tight, that aluminum housing is just going to start collapsing on you, and you're going to have a mess. So don't put it on too tight. Another helpful thing that comes with the kit that you buy online is you got this right here that you can put on the top of the oil filter. You can write on here the date you changed it and how many hours and miles were on it, plus the telephone number. You can put your name and number on there too. But if you fish a lot like I do, my general rule of thumb is in the summertime where you're working, I mean this engine's working the hardest it is going to in the summertime in the heat, I change my engine oil every 50 hours. That may be a little extreme. Some people may not do that, but believe it or not, in my opinion, the hardest thing on these super high output engines is idling. Well, in the summertime, that's when I'm idling, looking at a lot of offshore structure and deep ledge fishing and stuff like that. Idling's the worst thing for these. These things are made to run wide open. So I change mine in the summertime when the heat gets above 80 degrees. Every 50 hours I'm changing the oil. But now as it cools off and in the fall, going into winter, and then the extreme cold, you know, which I live in extreme northwest Georgia. I'm 5 minutes from Alabama, 8 minutes from Tennessee. Here lately we hadn't had a lot of extreme winters, so not really been a big deal, but I would change it every 50 hours if I had it in extreme cold as well. But generally I probably won't change this again until come springtime, which I'll probably have somewhere in the neighborhood of, I'd say 50 to 75 hours on both the engine oil and the lower unit oil. But I'm taking care of this boat because this is my last boat. I'm not going to trade this in. I won't ever have another boat. This is it. I want to make this engine last as long as possible. And so, yes, I do baby it. But when it comes time to use it, I use it. I mean, this engine runs its at peak performance. That was the oil filter cap. I mean, the oil fill cap over there, no problem. This unit runs at its peak speed with this prop and this setup at 5,985 RPMs. And when I'm fishing a tournament, or I'm just really and truly just anytime I want to go, that's what I'm doing. I'm getting a tachometer to 5985. I want to get everything I got out of her. And so she is babied, but she's not babied. She's meant to be used, and if you take care of them, you can use them. This is a great tool to put on there to make you remember when you change your oil. But like I said, if you use your boat a lot, I watch my hour gauge, and when that thing turns 50, like I said, in the summertime, you know, it's possible it could turn another 50 hours before it gets to fall fishing. And if it does, I'll change the oil again. So I don't put this on there, but it's a good idea if you don't use your boat a lot, or you're only using your boat every other weekend or something like that, because it's easy to forget when you did it. Okay, we got our oil filter on, we got our dipstick back in, we're ready for the easy part, and that's to put the oil back in. The owner's manual will tell you 6.7 liters of oil goes back in it if you replace the filter. The way we did it with the pumping and not the drain, it won't take quite 6.7 liters. And as you know, when you buy this, it'll come in quarts, but don't ask me why people get fancy. But basically, a liter is a quart. Actually, a liter is 1.06 quarts. So, I mean, it's pretty much a quart. So you can figure on, probably the way I look at it is I put in 6 quarts and then I'll check the dipstick. And usually it'll take another half of another one, so about 6.5 quarts. But what I like to do is I am going fishing tomorrow, so I'll fish it tomorrow. I will run it, and then when I get back in, let it cool down. I'll go ahead and check that dipstick again, make sure I don't need to put any more in it. But usually, if you do this enough yourself, you figure out what it is, what it will hold, and it's about 6.5 quarts with the pump. If you take all this housing off, which I used to do, if you take all the housing off, it will be about 6.7, but about 0.2 liters, which is just minuscule, is going to remain in there just from seepage and whatnot. So we're going to get this filled up, and we're going to be done with this project. And I mean, all in all, if you take out the instruction part, I mean, if I'd just been doing it, it'd took me probably less than 15 minutes. And I guarantee you that if you took this to a dealer to have it done, it'd be somewhere in the neighborhood of $400 to $500. So I've got $249 in parts, filter, and oil. Of course, I already had the pump, but if you got to buy the pump, it's just $20 more. So you're saving a lot of money by doing it yourself, and it's super easy. So we're going to finish this up, and we're going to be on the water tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have enough fish catches to be able to make an episode out of that. But like I said, stay tuned for next time. I'm going to show you guys how to change the lower unit fluid lube in this unit, which is incredibly easy as well. But be sure to like this video. Please subscribe. Hit that little button right down there, and that little bell that's over somewhere. Just hit it. Just subscribe to it. And be sure to share this video with your friends. I've had Mercury's, I've had Evinrude's, and I mean, all of them are similar. So I mean, if you buy one of those little pumps, it's a piece of cake. And I mean, it's crazy to take it to a dealer and spend that money onto it, plus you're without your boat for an extended period of time. But anyway, hope you guys like this video. Be sure to stay tuned for future episodes. Peace!